All right, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about miracles. I'm going to talk to you about what's becoming more and more the truth, and that more people are recognizing the truth of what truly exists, what is possible, what we are, and we're starting to actually shift into that reality of belief. This is all very good. The old world is dissolving because now we are entangled with a new one that we're creating. Well, I say creating only because we entangle with it. Everything exists all at once. I'm going to talk about this because you can use this today to change anything, no matter what your circumstances. We're going to talk about that, how that works. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. You know, every once in a while I get somebody who says that I'm promoting things. I was just watching another channel. She started promoting and she did it for like, 3-4 minutes before she even started the video. So cut me some slack here. I do have some cool stuff for you, and you're going to see arrows in the description. You can click on anything down there if you're curious about what you can get for free in all kinds of ways to actually shift your life. We're going to talk about that today because I want to be one of those catalysts to a new world, and I'm showing people and you, and we're going to do it today, how that works. How do I shift into something different? How do I end this issue that I have with these not loving myself and poor relationships and money struggles and all of it? It can end today. Now, we're going to talk about how that works. It is not exactly the easiest thing if you slip back into the old habits, but you can break those habits by constantly being on your game. So I hope you'll subscribe, share my videos, and let's tell the world that we're amazing. We always have been. Grab your coffee. I'm also going to read from the Master Key System today. Now, July 7th, this will probably be old by the time you see it. I did an interview. I did an interview with George Norrie on Coast to Coast AM, and the subject is miracles. Well, I'm going to give you a head start today on that. I'm going to share with George something that every viewer, everyone watching, listening to us can start using immediately to perform miracles, and that it's not like anything anybody has ever heard. Well, maybe they've heard it, but maybe not this way, and I'm going to share it right now with you. Miracles are considered rare because they are occurrences that happen in a space of all power and purity, where there's no illness, there's none of the illusion here on planet Earth that tests us exists in that space, in that moment. All right? Only those who shift into it experience the miracle. Why is that? Okay, people get it, and some others, and they don't know why. It's like, well, it's not intentional, I'm shifting into it. The secret I want you to know right now, and this applies to everything on this planet, everything that happens in your life, everything that you believe and think, you are already the perfect being that you desire to be. It's the other thoughts, beliefs, struggles around it that are self-created, that must be removed to reveal that which already exists. Okay? I'm going to say this again. A miracle is a state of being that you already are, and the reason why you're trying to get to it is because you have believed or created something different that has layered over and over and over illness or sadness or not love myself, and or I don't deserve this, or I'm not worthy of being wealthy. All these things get layered. The miracle is just your perfect state of being, and everything else is the illusion, which we created also, all right? A miracle isn't a place to get to. It's letting go of all the other stuff, and it is revealed that you are already perfect and healed. Now this is in line with people like Joe Dispenza. If you don't know who he is, I've been to his advanced workshop many years ago. And they deal with the brain. And he looks at the actual changes that occur in the brain when we start to shift our thinking and change our habits. So instead of focusing on, I must be healed and help me, and you're not seeing yourself as perfect, and you already are that. So you're going outside yourself for this separate thing that's going to bring something into you when you're in a state of being that isn't there. All right, I talked to you about you cannot be in the penthouse if you're down here trying to bring it, attract it to you. And that's what people are trying to do with miracles. Why do some people get miracles? They let it all go. They let everything go. Eckhart Tolle absolutely wanted to kill himself. He finally just let everything go. The struggle, the thoughts, the hating himself, all of that. He just completely didn't even care anymore. He wanted to just die. And congratulations. It's gone now. You released it. It's false. You created it. What did you learn from it? Now you're back to that state of being that you always have been, and you let the other stuff go. Joe Dispenza refused to let the doctors put those rods in his back, but he was supposed to be paralyzed, wasn't going to be able to walk. He got hit by a truck during a race. And he realized there's no coming back from that. So he spent time focusing and studied on healing and realized that the same power, the power that we are, that created this, that creates all things, that is the energy field that is animating this and beyond, is powerful enough to change it, right? It's not thinking, it just does. Only humans think. We create the stories behind it that block us. So he focused on the perfect spine, the perfect vertebrae, the perfect muscles, the perfect, and therefore healed himself. He's walking around, you've seen him. He runs, I've seen him work out in the morning. No, don't be going there. I see him work out in the morning at the resorts that we were staying at. I know somebody out there is going to pick up on that and create something out of it. Let's talk about Gregg Braden. I've brought this up several times because this is a classic. And this is what the Buddhists and many other beautiful teachings go into, and that is we are perfect. Everything else is the created limitation and illusion. So whatever you experience from that is what is. When you let that go, you realize you're already in the space that has no thought to it, no criticism, no real desires or wants or needs. It just is. It's just perfect. And therefore it is all things, including the perfect person who didn't have the illness of any kind. All right? So he saw these Chinese doctors working on a woman who was sent back from the U.S. saying if she was incurable, they weren't even going to open her up, but she had a huge tumor. I think it was either in her stomach or uterus or someplace that they could put these cameras on. You know, you can scan the body and see it up on a screen, what's inside, what they do for babies. You guys will know this. I'm not going to look it up right now. Anyways, sonogram. And so they go over the body, and they were to show him what was happening inside of her while they're working on her. He could watch this tumor. And so they did this, wassa, 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 wassa. And they kept doing this, and this tumor was shrinking. Now, what was that? He asked them, he said, what were you doing to heal her? And they said, we didn't heal her. We saw her perfect. We focused on the perfect, healthy person that was laying there. And therefore, the illusion of the illness, whatever else it was, dissolved. So they obviously have some skills and teachings that allow them to focus together to do that. And she had to be a willing participant. That's what you can do with absolutely everything. Now, herein lies the challenge. If you are struggling financially, you're feeling it, right? And you're waking up worried or whatever you're going through, and you can't imagine getting out of this. Maybe you're struggling to get out of it. You're trying everything. It's not working. How do you go into prosperity? You have to know it is done. It is a probability that exists, so it is true. This is truth. It is true. And you can choose that probability. Everyone is prosperous and healthy and happy and all these other things. That exists in a pure state of being where we don't tell ourselves or believe any of the other stories that are created here. We have to let it go. So you know there's a you that is prosperous. There's a you that has perfect health. Now I do want to mention something. All of these things we go through are part of the learning experience. We aren't here to just get rid of everything that's uncomfortable. We learn from it. So take every situation you're in and ask yourself, what is to be learned from this? Maybe you self-sabotage because you don't think you're worthy of money. Maybe you've been told money is evil. Maybe you think that only wealthy people have it and that they are going to go to hell in a handbasket. And all that would be one story that's true for somebody, but it's actually false because it's one illusion of many stories of which money doesn't pick and choose evil or, good or evil. It just is. It's just an exchange rate for goods. And whatever you do to obtain that is your frequency. So what can you learn from that? What is the root? Now you guys know, and if you're in my email list, breakthrough fear, and we're going to talk about that right now, is getting to the root of the fear, not finding the fear and getting rid of it, is why do I believe that in the first place? It isn't the abuse. It isn't what your parents told you. It isn't the event. It's what you believed about the event and continue to carry with you about the event, the situation, the whatever. You have to continually believe it and run that story to exist in that realm of being. When you see, why do I have that fear? Where did that start? What is it I thought about that situation? And we see the situation. We see that everyone else involved is in the same state of fear that has been passed down to them. So when you know this, you can go into compassion and you release the stories and you go into that pure state of being where now you're not a victim anymore and you're not poor little me, and you realize there was something beautiful in that to learn despite the, I know some of you have a tough time with this. It's wrong. It is. And we are here to learn, and we're here to triumph over even the most evil situations. Evil is part of the experience. So if you have any one of these situations, you have to look at it and say, okay, I'm here now, but I am here already. So I'm going to talk about Neville Goddard and also Joseph Murphy. Were both taught by an Ethiopian mystic who taught them these same principles. It's the same principle over and over again. Now, he came from a standpoint of, no, it is done. That is also in the Bible. This is being said over and over and over, just in different ways. My approach on miracles is, once again, it already is. It already is. It's a probability. This is the same principle. That's what a miracle is. That's just another state of being. We choose it, and everything else goes away. So, as Neville Goddard was absolutely broke, he said he had zero money. He didn't have a couple bucks. He had no money. And he wanted to go to Barbados to visit his family. He hadn't seen them in ages. And so he asked Abdullah how he can make this happen. And he said, you're already in Barbados. You're in Barbados. It's like, okay, so how do I make this happen? He says, no, you're in Barbados. There's no planning in that, because the ego will make a plan that it can't possibly know what its actual choices are, because it's coming from a low frequency. When you come up from a frequency here, when you go into that miracle space, you have access to everything. That's who and what I am already. The stories down here that I don't have money in the bank and I don't know how I'm going to get it and all these other things you tell, that is the thinking down here that clouds the probability from opening up. That's why I always say you're in the basement. You have to get up those stairs and get to that top to see that there's a beautiful penthouse up there. You have to do that. And that's a frequency. All right, that says you can absolutely take the action. You can absolutely make the effort. If the phone rings, you got to answer it. If there's the job opportunity, answer that. So opportunities will start to open up for you. A lot of times we think, oh, no, it's just going to show up. So you have to participate, be engaged in it, but not control it. Now, he said, you're in Barbados. Okay, I'm in Barbados. No, you are, it's already done. So go about your way, all right? Okay, well, a couple months went by and he wasn't in Barbados. And of course, you are already in Barbados. He keeps saying this. And a couple days later, a letter comes under his door, and his brother said, I have reserved a ticket for you on the ship coming over, and I'm going to pick up the whole tab, and here's $50 to go get whatever you want. And he was saying you can actually buy a suit back then for $12. Oh, wouldn't that be nice, right? And so he's told Abdullah this is amazing, but he was going to be down in the lower decks, and he wasn't going to be able to go in first class till later in the trip. And he says, no, you are in Barbados, and you got there first class. Like, okay, I'm already there. I'm happy with this. Well, at the last minute, when he went to board, they said, we have a great surprise for you. Somebody canceled, and we have placed you in first class for the whole trip. This is how it works. So we have these expectations. We have to control it. It has to be this way or this way. And so I'm telling you right now, a miracle. And what we're shifting into is our recognizing that all exists. Just like the negativity doesn't. A lot of people say, well, you're not in reality. I'm like, yeah, your reality is the troubled one that we're creating by believing and thinking things that are negative and in conflict with one another. Yeah, I am in reality. My reality is I'm creating it, and if I don't like a situation, I have to shift it. Within the situation, there's always something I'm supposed to learn and do. So I look at that and I say, if I'm behaving this way, getting these results, then I must behave this way to get these results. So we have to look at ourselves and find out what's going on with the thoughts, self-sabotage, all the other things that keep you in the space you don't want to be in. Because you own that power. You are that power to change anything. Now, some people, maybe they get ill and they're not meant to come out of that. Maybe they're an example for other people. Maybe they're ready to leave, or they have held things in, and maybe they're not going to ever release those beliefs, struggle. Maybe they're just not going to achieve that goal. There's 101 reasons along the way where people don't pull out of that, but they are all 100% in control of changing it. 100%. All right? So the truth is now being revealed, and that is we are the pure essence of all power and creation. We are the creator of the very thing that we are, and we share that energy field. Not, I'm going to give a piece to you and you. It is just one. And so everything affects everything else. All right? So we have to be on our game. Do you want a miracle? Do you want to change something? Here's this man, and Abdullah was Ethiopian, and back then, it was 1930s, I believe, was not allowed in the theater up front, and Neville Goddard offered to buy him a ticket. And he says, I don't need you to buy me a ticket. I can do it myself. And he would buy a ticket and he would go in. And so he made things happen in what you could say is a world that it doesn't happen in that world. But it did for him, right? He was in a different reality where things did flow through because it already existed for him. He held that power, and he taught it to many, many greats out there that are teaching, that have taught. Joseph Murphy, Neville Goddard. There are many others. I'm not going to go into that now. You can look this up. This is not new stuff. And my take on miracles is not new. As my teachings take you into, there's no place to go to. So Breakthrough Fear teaches you that there is nothing out there that gives you something or that you have to get to. You do it right here, and you let go of the other things that are not where you want to be. And when you release those, you're already in the space. Yeah, it already is done. Are you ready to go in that space? And I'm going to read from the Master Key System. I know you guys love the Master Key System, my favorite book. All right, so we're still in part 1. Now we're on 13. If we find wisdom in the world within, wisdom, we shall have the understanding to discern the marvelous possibilities that are latent in this world within. We find the possibilities endless, right? And we shall be given the power to make these possibilities manifest in the world without. Here we go again. It's already here. Once we have the wisdom to recognize the truth that it's all right here, then I connect to that probability. I know it is done. I choose it, and it reflects in the world out here because we're creators. So the Creator is creating that out there. All right, so you can change anything. And if you don't like where you are, you have to take a good hard look at yourself and say, what am I doing? I have to go in here and be the different person that gets a different result, the one that you truly want. And then you go in here, you shift into that, and you say, I am that person. You envision it. Right? You have to see it. I know that I'm that person who's healthier and happier, who is nice to people, who stops judging people, all the other things you might be doing to self-sabotage your happiness. And then you imagine it, and then you start to live it because I am that, I am, and then it's reflected out here. And then the response out here is different. 14, as we become conscious of the wisdom in the world within, we mentally take possession of this wisdom. And by taking mental possession, we come into actual possession of the power and wisdom necessary to bring into manifestation the essentials necessary for our most complete and harmonious development. 15, the world within is the practical world in which the men and women of power generate courage, hope, enthusiasm, confidence, trust, and faith, by which they are given the fine intelligence to see the vision and the practical skill to make the vision real. So that's when you start to realize, whoa, okay, the thinking mind kicks in and says, I actually really do possess this. I am much greater than these thoughts. Number 16, life is an unfoldment, not an accretion. What comes to us in the world without is what we already possess in the world within. And this is what my miracles are based on. It's already there. It's already there. And so through knowing this and making that choice and knowing that it is already done, then you shift the world without. Allow it the time it takes for that to happen. It took a couple months for Neville Goddard's shift to reach his brother, who he hadn't talked to, he had never spoke to him during that time period, to reach him. And he was inspired to buy that ticket and then send it over. And that's where linear time comes in. All right? We are allowed cause and effect. These things all are connected and happen. So you have to allow that and know that if you don't stay on that and you go into here, if you don't stay on that reality, that probability that you desire, and it's already done, you're already in it, and you shift over back into, oh, I can't pay my bills, or, I'm in a horrible relationship or whatever, then you shift back into that state of being because you're believing it, you're living it, and you haven't shifted into that which you desire. This is not an easy task to do, but with practice, you can do it today. These things can happen within 24 hours. I have it happen all the time. All right? So you have to really focus on it, believe it, know it, concentrate on it, and know that you just hold the power. This is not a trick. It's who you are. It's what you are. You ready to go into that? So Break Through Fear, my book. A friend of mine last night said she read it and she said it was amazing. It's changed her life, and I thought that blew me away. And I realized that that's information that I received from that perfect place that tells you what you are. You're perfect, whole, loving, harmonious, and happy. And so again, if you want to come in and get free videos and a free masterclass, how to break through fear and step into that unlimited space, I have that webinar for you here. And Digital Explorers is where I'm teaching people how to create online businesses in anything that they want, planet conscious. Any dream you've ever had to have an online business, you can do it. I'm going to teach it to you. You don't have to even know what it is. That's what we work on. We find out what is that business that you want to do. We find out what your passions are. When you live in passion, you live on a high frequency. You're not thinking about all this other stuff. You're in this exciting, beautiful space. Let's go there. Let's go there and live there. And that's what our world's shifting into. But only if you're a part of that. I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.